After hearing it's not all it's cracked up to be, I decided to try a juice cleanse myself for 3 days. So stick around to find out what happens. Hi there, I'm Spira. Welcome to my channel. I like to teach yoga. I like to talk about yoga. I also like to talk about trauma healing as well as living healthy, self-care, and creativity. Throughout the pandemic, I have been, like anyone else, home a lot. And usually I eat really healthy. I mean, not 100%, you know, I'm a big fan of the 80-20 rule, right? If you can do it 80% of the time, then 20% of the time it's okay. But I eat healthy because it makes me feel good and because I feel like I have to. And the reason I feel that way is because I don't feel good when I eat crappy foods. And it feels good in the moment, but it doesn't have a good effect on me. And now that I'm a little older, when I was younger, it didn't really matter. When I was in my 20s, whatever, I could eat a pint of ice cream, not think twice about it. I feel like our bodies just metabolize things differently. And I was also incredibly active at work, not outside of work. I was waiting tables, I was on the go, I was running around, and I could just eat and not worry about a thing. I wasn't super healthy, I just looked skinny and therefore people thought I was healthy. But then over the years, I've learned to eat better, I've learned to eat healthy, the way that I grew up, because I was brought up in a Greek household with lots of vegetables and I was not one of those kids that didn't like vegetables. I always liked my vegetables. I still love vegetables, so I just had to kind of rearrange things. Well, anyway, during this pandemic and being home, I noticed that a lot of people on Facebook were talking about like all the food they were eating and the weight they were putting on and all of that, and I was like, oh, you know, maybe I should just eat. Maybe I should just give it up and just kind of enjoy. And so I did for like maybe 3 weeks. I decided to eat whatever I wanted. And that meant, you know, potato chips are my biggest weakness. I love crunchy things, especially at night. So yeah, I hit the Pringles pretty hard, and and I just wasn't being careful or thoughtful or mindful, right, about any of it. And I put on weight really fast, which is unusual for me. But again, I'm a lot older now. I'm 50 years old. I'm not 25 anymore, right? And my metabolism has slowed down. And I'm also perimenopausal. So my hormones are kind of like all over the place. And usually we tend to, you know, start to gain a little bit in the belly. And I'm prepared for that. You know, I understand that it's part of it. But you know, it's not going to ruin my life or kill my self-esteem or anything like that. The good thing is that I am old enough to not give a shit. So, excuse my language. Well, anyway, but all of that, it wasn't the extra weight, because I definitely wasn't loving how I looked, and that's okay too. It's not a huge thing. But I just wasn't feeling good, you know? I felt like I overdid it. It was only about 3 weeks, but I still felt like I overdid it. So I got back to my regular, healthier eating with like little goodies here and there, which is fine, like I said. And then it just hit me. I decided to try, there's a place in Boston, I live in Cambridge, but in Boston there's a place called Cocoa Beet. And they don't know I'm doing this, by the way. I'm not an affiliate for them. They have no idea. I'm just doing this because this was something I did for myself. And I love this place. It's all raw foods, and they're more famous for their cold pressed juices. So they offer, you know, 1 day, 3 day. They may even do like a week, and it's kind of a fast in a way, because you're not really getting a ton of calories. But the idea for me was to just, you know, go plant-based for a few days and as raw as possible, and just kind of, you know, get those nutrients back in. I was looking at it as sort of a reboot, if that makes any sense. Not so much as a weight loss thing, because I know that, you know, my weight isn't a huge issue for me. And I know that, you know, once I just start eating better and get moving, that stuff will, you know, fall on its own. So it's not about the weight. It was really more about just my body and how it felt, and, you know, not getting enough nutrients. So anyway, I ordered 3 days, And I'm on day 3 right now. I haven't actually finished it yet, but I did want to go over some of the things that I have experienced so far. Well, let me go over the order with you and how it's supposed to be done, because I already messed it up. There are stickers on these that say what time you're supposed to be eating it or drinking it, and I completely disregarded that. I wasn't even paying attention. I was guessing, so I just went with what I felt like doing. So the first one was the shot that I mentioned earlier, and that's supposed to sort of cleanse your system after you drink your water for the day. And then between 8 and 9 a.m., they gave me this vanilla berry chia pudding. So chia is pretty high in protein, which is nice, and that's definitely a good idea to have in the morning. I actually don't eat that early in the morning because of my schedule, and so I would eat this a little bit later. But the first day I already messed up and I didn't have it. I actually had the nut milk, which I was supposed to have for lunch. So whoops. So that's like supposed to be 8 to 9, and then at 10:30 you're supposed to have one of these green drinks. I have 2 here because I didn't drink both of mine. I didn't drink mine from yesterday. This is Green Magic, cucumber, kale, spinach, romaine, parsley, lime, and spirulina. Fantastic. And then at lunch, like I mentioned, you're supposed to have your nut milk. You get 2 nut milks a day. One is for evening, one is for lunchtime. And so the nut milk is helpful. It does also have some protein in it, and it should help with some of that because we need to have some protein and we need to have fats. So for me, it didn't seem like enough on the first day, and that could be because of the way that I ate everything. I didn't eat it in order. Anyway, regardless. So this is lunch. And then for a snack, you get this one. So this is different for each day also. I also had one that was beet juice combination, not just beet juice. This one is Peruvian Sun. It's orange, carrot, apple, lemon, lime, and maca. So I've had this one before. It's actually really yummy. Between 5 and 6, you're supposed to have your salad. So as I mentioned, I may have mentioned, I got the transitional plan. I didn't want to go full on liquid right away. I knew it wouldn't be good for me. So this is supposed to be eaten at 5, but the last 2 days I ate them as a late lunch, probably around 3 or so. Not a big deal. The other salads I had, one was a vegan Caesar salad that had hemp hearts for a protein. That was really tasty. I've had it before. It's really, really good. And then yesterday I had one that was kale and microgreens, and that had some pumpkin seeds and cranberries. But I didn't think that that had enough protein in it for me. It also had some vegan cheese on it, but I sprinkled a bunch of walnuts on it, and for me that made more sense because I needed a little extra protein. Anyway, tonight is my favorite, which is quinoa burgers on arugula. These are like little quinoa meatballs, really. They're so good, though. I've had these before. They're so good. I don't even know what else to say. And this comes with shredded carrots and on the bed of arugula plus peppers, and also a side of spicy almond spread. So that should be fun. So that's going to be like a light dinner, and then between 6 and 8, you have another power milk. So this one is cashews with flax seeds, dates, vanilla, and sea salt. So this is the last meal of the day. You drink this between 6 and 8, which is a good idea. It also has, it has some protein and some fats. Okay, so here's my overall take so far. The first day, I didn't feel so great. And I basically, just to put it bluntly, I basically just had diarrhea all day. It hit me, and everything just kind of went through me. And I also didn't eat things in the order I was supposed to. And I can't say that didn't have anything to do with it, because it may have. But I definitely cleaned out. I don't know what else to say. Cleaned out. And but I thought, whatever, it's the first day. Maybe this is normal. And it was, because the second day was fine. I didn't have that issue. However, I also found that it was way too much sugar all at once, especially the green juice, not so much. But this one definitely did me in. I already have some issues with candida, and I'm trying to stay away from sugars, but the pressed juice, it's like a pure jolt of sugar. So I'm not a super big fan of that. And I think what happened for me was I ended up just getting really bloated, and that could be from the bacterial growth in my gut. It could be just that it was an unfamiliar way for me to take in my nutrients, you know, just liquid and stuff. So I don't know, but the first day wasn't great. The second day was definitely better. After going through the first day, my initial intuitive thoughts were that there wasn't enough fat and there wasn't enough protein. Now, I understand that the whole point of the plant-based fast or cleanse is to, you know, let the body be as clean as possible so that it could just be a little more efficient. But you know, here's the thing. Our bodies are very well equipped to handle pretty much anything that we eat. And there's no such thing as a detox. I actually hate when people say detox. It's one of my pet peeves. It really irritates me. If our body was toxic, we would just die. Like when you get to that level, you're done. So to even say that our bodies are toxic is a bit dramatic, in my opinion, and other people share my opinion, so I'm fine with that. And so I don't use the word detox. That's why I use the word cleanse. I just wanted it to be sort of a reboot. But having said that, everything is delicious. I absolutely love it. Like I said, I love my vegetables, so it was not a problem for me, and I really like the chia pudding. So what I did on the second day was, instead of the chia pudding, I had what was called a coconut yogurt. So what I ended up doing was putting the coconut yogurt and mixing it with some rolled oats, just to get a little bit more natural fiber in my body and a whole grain. Because one of my issues with these juices, as delicious as they are, it's not a complete meal. With no fat, and it doesn't have to be animal fat, you know, it can be nuts, you know, it can be dairy. So unless you're a vegan, in which case that would be tough, so I'd go with nuts or something like that. But you know, you need fats and protein also, not just for your body, but you need it so that you can absorb the nutrients. If you're just drinking the juices, you're not really absorbing the nutrients that you need. Everything kind of works together. And so that was an issue that I had. And I also had little bouts of lightheadedness. Now, I wasn't hungry when I had the lightheadedness, so I'm not sure what that was from, but something didn't feel right. And then when I did a little bit more reading on it, I learned that, you know, you need the fats also for your brain to work. So I was like, my brain wasn't working. So yeah, I adjusted it a little bit on the second day. I actually added some shredded cheese to my salad. I just wanted a little more, I guess, protein. I guess my body was craving the protein more than anything else. You have to have some protein. You can't not have any. And I didn't feel like the Power Milk really gave enough. Now, there's no nutrition information on these. I'm sure that if I, you know, check on the website, maybe they have some. So here's my overall thing. It's the third day, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and drink one of the juices. And did I love it? No. Did I hate it? No. So generally, I think it's a really good idea to maybe take a few days. I actually would not do more than 3. I know people go on these retreats and they do like 1 week, 2 week cleanses. I'm not so sure how safe that is. I'm pretty in tune with my body nutritionally. Like, I know how I feel when I eat yucky food, and I know how I feel when I eat good food. And this was great, but I would really warn against drinking pressed juices without proteins or fat, because that also is a really big jolt of sugar, and that can cause your insulin levels to just kind of shoot up, and then you could get sort of like a blood sugar drop. Well, not sort of. You would get a major drop in your blood sugar, and that can cause a lot of uncomfortable feelings. So if you've ever understood diabetes or even hypoglycemia. When the blood sugar drops, you get all shaky and stuff like that and weak. So this is what I have issue with. Now, if there was a way to do this juice by keeping all the pulp in it, I think that would be better, because you're also keeping the fiber. And the fiber helps to slow down the absorption rate of the sugar, which is why a lot of nutritionists will tell you, instead of drinking a juice, eat the fruit, because you need the fiber for both reasons. One, we need the fiber for digestion, but we need the fiber to help slow down the rate of absorption of the sugar in the body so you don't get a spike. So that would be my only negative. How people can go on these juice fasts for a week, I have no idea, especially when they just do the liquids. That to me sounds impossible. I don't think that I could do it, and I don't think I want to, because I just don't. I felt the sugar spike. I really did. And it tasted hyper sweet to me because I don't eat a lot of sugar. So having said all of that, now that I went on my third day and I realized that I did sort of mess up the order of things, it could have gone a little bit better for me. I can't say for sure, because that day has passed. So would I do this again? Yes, I would. And especially if I'm a little bit more mindful of how I eat the things. And also with adding a couple of things. I don't think I'll add anything to my quinoa burger salad today, because this is a big salad. This has it's a lot of quinoa burgers. And the quinoa burgers themselves, besides the quinoa, they have walnuts in them too. So this will probably fill me up really nicely. I'm not going to worry too much about it. But okay, so my wrap-up takeaway. We'll do jazz hands too. My wrap-up takeaway is this. It's a great idea to do a reboot. It's a great idea to do a little bit of a cleanse, not for too many days, but it's a great idea to make sure you've got all your bases covered. So no pressed juice, too much sugar. Make sure that you leave the pulp in it and make it a smoothie instead. And make sure you're getting enough natural fats and some protein. We need fats and protein for our brain. And again, it doesn't have to be animal fat. You can eat walnuts. In fact, walnuts are amazing for brain function. Ever notice how a walnut actually looks like a brain? Just stop and think about that for a second. A walnut, it looks like a brain. And healthy fats can be anything from nuts, again, walnuts are fats and protein, or even avocado. So maybe you could put avocado in your salad. That would be considered a healthy fat. It's a clean food. It's not going to clog up your system. So there you go. There are options. Well, that is it, everyone. Thank you for listening. I hope that you got a little bit of insight into the world of juice cleanse or a fast or whatever you want to call it, and what you can expect. If you think this is something that you want to try, just be careful. Make sure that whatever company you go with is giving you natural fats and proteins as well, and not just pressed juices, because that can mess you up. Especially think about all of that sugar hitting you all at once. Just think about that for a minute, okay? Well, I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button also. And if you click the like button, that actually helps the video to get seen more. So even better if you do think that you got something good out of it. Thanks again, and I hope that you will join me next time for all kinds of ways to stay healthy and to take care of yourself, because no one else is going to do it. So here's to some self-care. Have a lovely day, and namaste.